racial and sexual oppression have been added to the dynamic of class exploitation. Social justice movements like Black Lives Matter and Me Too owe something of an unspoken debt to Marx through their unapologetic targeting of the eternal truths of our age. Such movements recognize, as did Marx, that the ideas that rule every society are those of its ruling class, and that overturning those ideas is fundamental to true revolutionary progress. We have become used to the go-getting mantra that to effect social change, we first have to change ourselves, but enlightened or rational thinking is not enough, since the norms of thinking are already skewed by the structures of male privilege and social hierarchy, even down to the language we use. Changing those norms entails changing the very foundations of society.
Famous man-hating hardline feminist Catherine McKinnon is quoted as saying, "Feminism, socialism, and communism are one and the same, and socialist communist government is the goal of feminism." As Karen Strawhan has pointed out, in much the same way communism maintained that workers' rights are being exploited by the bourgeoisie, the concept of patriarchy under third-wave feminism maintains that women are being oppressed by all things masculine in society. This is simply a reskinned version of Marxist ideology.
Cultural Marxism is a negative term often used to describe far-left progressive ideology. What this refers to is the idea of using Marxist principles in social science instead of economics like it is defined by Marx in the Communist Manifesto. One of the defining ideas of Marxism is the idea that power is acquired through oppression by the oppressive class at the expense of the oppressed class. There are the wealthy bourgeoisie oppressors and the poor oppressed proletariat. The poor worker does all the work while the owner makes most of the profit. Cultural Marxism takes this principle and applies it to things such as race and sex. Ideas are still looked at through the lens of class warfare like Marx describes. The only difference is what the classes are. Instead of the rich oppress the poor, whites oppress blacks, men oppress women, straights oppress gays. The bourgeoisie is called the privileged class, the proletariat is called the marginalized groups. When differences of success between groups is used to prove oppression without specific proof of bigoted laws or actions, it relies upon the Marxist principle that power is acquired through oppression. It is a philosophy of power politics. All relationships are viewed by the perceived power differences between groups. This neo-Marxist ideology is prevalent within far-left progressive circles such as social science and academia, radical activist groups, and radical feminism. The same issues with classical Marxist ideas applies to cultural Marxism. The popularity of anti-capitalism, communism, socialism, and classical Marxism within far-left progressives shows proof of the Marxist basis within their ideology. Obviously, if your ideology is based on neo-Marxist principles, it is more likely for you to have a similar classical Marxist ideas about economics. Marxism defines the problems of the world such that the only solution is radical redistribution to create equity, such as that of communism or pseudo-communist policy. The adoption of Marxist ideas within countries around the world caused 100 million deaths and gave rise to the most brutal totalitarian governments since Genghis Khan. If the cultural Marxist analysis of society is adopted by a large number of people, then the results could be just as dangerous as the communist revolutions of the past. Cultural Marxism is not a right-wing conspiracy about Reds under the bed, but at the identification of the principles behind certain ideas.